If you walk into a dealership today and point at one of these 10 SUVs, the salesperson will practically beg you to take it home. We're talking about SUVs sitting on lots for 400, 500, even 700 days. Dealers slashing prices by $10,000, $20,000. In one case, $50,000 off sticker. Manufacturers suspending production because they simply cannot move these things. And here's the crazy part. Some of these are from brands you absolutely know. Jeep, Ford, Audi, Volkswagen. These aren't obscure models nobody's heard of. These are SUVs that were supposed to be hits. So, what went wrong? In this video, we're counting down the 10 SUVs that no one is buying right now, with real inventory data, real price cuts, and the real reasons dealers are desperate to get them off their lots. We're starting at number 10 and working our way down to the SUV that has been sitting unsold longer than almost any other vehicle in America. Let's get into it. Mazda has always been the brand that over-delivers. Great driving dynamics, beautiful interiors, reliable engines. So why is the CX-90 sitting on dealer lots for 241 days on average? Simple: price. When Mazda launched the CX-90, they positioned it as a near-luxury three-row SUV, starting around $40,000. But fully loaded trims push well past $55,000. And at that price, buyers start looking at Lexus. They start looking at Acura. Brands with decades of luxury credibility. Mazda also introduced a new plug-in hybrid powertrain that many buyers didn't fully understand or trust. Over 18,000 units are currently sitting on lots nationwide, and dealers are moving less than 3,500 every 45 days. That's a serious mismatch. If you're in the market for a three-row SUV and you want maximum negotiating power, the CX-90 is a legitimate sleeper deal right now. Subaru built its entire reputation on reliability, all-wheel drive, and outdoor adventure. The Solterra was supposed to bring all of that into the electric age. It didn't work out that way. The Solterra is sitting at over 400 days of supply in recent months, one of the worst numbers among any EV on the market. Dealers have significantly more inventory than sales can absorb, and the aging stock is creating real pressure to cut prices. The problem? The Solterra is essentially a rebadged Toyota BZ4X, and buyers know it. Range is mediocre, charging is slower than the competition, and when you can get a better EV for similar money, most shoppers just skip right past it. Subaru's brand loyalty runs deep, but apparently not deep enough to paper over a middling electric crossover with an identity crisis. The F-PACE is supposed to be Jaguar's bread and butter, their highest volume model, the SUV that keeps the lights on at dealerships. And yet, over 2,100 units are sitting unsold across the country with nearly 300 days of supply. That's not a slow month. That's a brand in crisis. Jaguar has been going through one of the most confusing rebranding exercises in automotive history. They killed their entire current lineup to go all electric, then pivoted, then delayed. Nobody knows what Jaguar is anymore, and that uncertainty is killing F-PACE sales. Buyers at this price point want confidence. They want to know the brand will be around in 5 years. Right now, Jaguar isn't giving them that confidence, and the inventory numbers tell the whole story. Here's one that surprises people. The Buick Envision isn't a bad car. Reviewers generally like it. Quiet ride, comfortable interior, decent features. So why does it have over 287 days of supply with more than 8,300 units sitting on lots? Two reasons. First, it's built in China. And in today's market, that's a harder sell than it used to be, especially with tariffs driving prices up further. Second, the segment is brutally competitive. You're up against the Lexus NX, the Acura RDX, the Audi Q5. Buyers doing their homework at that price point often end up somewhere else. Buick is caught in no man's land. Too expensive to compete on value, not prestigious enough to compete on badge. And dealers are feeling it every single day. On paper, the Alfa Romeo Stelvio has everything going for it. Sharp Italian styling, excellent driving dynamics, a turbocharged engine that sounds fantastic. Car journalists love it. Actual buyers, not so much. The Stelvio posted over 314 days of supply late in 2025, with sales falling 41% in a single year. Alfa Romeo, as a whole, collapsed 36% in the US market. And the problem isn't the car, it's the brand. Americans are still not fully convinced that Alfa Romeo is reliable. The dealer network is thin. Resale values lag behind German competitors. And when you're spending $55,000 to $70,000 on a luxury SUV, reliability and resale value matter a lot. The Stelvio is genuinely one of the most fun SUVs you can buy. It's also genuinely one of the hardest to sell. If the Stelvio has a brand trust problem, the Maserati Grecale has a brand trust problem on steroids. Fewer than 100 Grecales are being sold every 45 days in the entire United States, the whole country, over 300 days of supply, and an average transaction price firmly in luxury territory around $82,000. The pitch for the Grecale was supposed to be Maserati exclusivity at a more accessible price point. The reality is that buyers with $80,000 to spend on an SUV can get a BMW X5, a Mercedes GLE, or a Porsche Macan, brands with stronger dealer networks, better resale values, and decades of proven reliability in America. Maserati is exotic. Maserati is beautiful. But in 2026, exotic and beautiful alone won't move iron off the lot. This one is a genuine shock. The Audi Q5 has been one of the best-selling luxury compact SUVs in America for years. It's a known quantity, a safe choice, the kind of car your neighbor drives. So how did it end up with 363 days of supply? Audi just launched a brand new third-generation Q5, and the timing created a perfect storm. Buyers who knew a new model was coming held off on purchasing the outgoing version. And the new version hit the market right as Audi's overall US sales were already declining, down 19% for the Q5 in 2025 alone, even with the new model. Add persistently high interest rates, making $55,000 luxury payments harder to justify. And you've got a lot full of Q5s going nowhere fast. Great news if you're negotiating. Terrible news if you're an Audi dealer. Not long ago, the Ford Mustang Mach-E was the EV success story that wasn't a Tesla. Ford was selling over 50,000 units a year. Reviewers loved it. The future looked bright. Then everything changed. The federal $7,500 EV tax credit disappeared. Buyers who were on the fence went back to the fence, or walked away entirely. And Ford, having ramped up production to meet demand, suddenly found itself with 350 days of supply and nearly 11,000 units sitting on lots nationwide. The Mach-E isn't a bad car. It's actually quite good, but in a market where the tax credit is gone, interest rates are high, and Tesla keeps cutting prices, the math just doesn't work for a lot of buyers anymore. Ford knows it. They're already planning a new, cheaper EV lineup launching in 2027. But right now, dealers are stuck holding the bag and offering serious discounts to anyone willing to take one home. The story of the Jeep Grand Wagoneer is one of the most dramatic miscalculations in recent American automotive history. Jeep looked at the Cadillac Escalade and thought, we can do that. They relaunched the Grand Wagoneer as a near-luxury flagship, priced it above $85,000, and positioned it as a competitor to Escalades and Lincoln Navigators. The market said no. Inventory stretched to 428 days in 2024. The head of Jeep North America stood up at the Detroit Auto Show and publicly admitted, and this is a direct quote, "Wagoneer, it's too far." The company had gone too far with pricing and positioning, and it damaged trust with both consumers and dealers. The response was drastic. For 2026, Jeep slashed the starting price by over $20,000. From $84,945 down to $63,995. They discontinued the base Wagoneer entirely. They rebadged it as a proper Jeep again, instead of a standalone sub-brand. Even after all that, the Grand Wagoneer still sits at 282 days of supply. When you spend years convincing people your truck is too expensive, a price cut alone doesn't fix it overnight. 716 days. Let that sink in. If you bought a Volkswagen ID4 and put it on a dealer lot today, at the current rate of sales, it would sit there until sometime in 2028 before finding a buyer. The ID4 is the slowest selling vehicle in America right now. Not just among SUVs, not just among EVs, but across every single new car on the market. Over 1,200 units are sitting unsold on lots nationwide. What happened? A perfect storm of bad timing and bad luck. The federal EV tax credit, worth $7,500, is gone. That alone dramatically changed the math for buyers, considering a $48,000 electric crossover. Then, Tesla kept cutting prices, making the ID.4 look expensive by comparison. Then, Volkswagen announced they were discontinuing US production of the ID.4 entirely, which made buyers even more hesitant. Why buy a car the manufacturer is giving up on? Dealers have been offering massive incentives trying to move these, and yet the inventory keeps piling up. The ID.4 isn't a terrible car, but it arrived at the wrong time, at the wrong price, in the wrong market environment. And right now, it is the single best example of what happens when supply and demand completely fall apart at a dealership. And there you have it, 10 SUVs that dealers are desperately trying to move right now. Here's the bottom line. If you're in the market for a new SUV, this list is your cheat sheet. High inventory means negotiating power, real negotiating power. We're talking thousands of dollars off sticker, aggressive financing deals, and dealers who actually want your business. The market has shifted. For the first time in years, the buyer has the leverage, at least on these models. If you found this video useful, hit that like button. It genuinely helps the channel more than you think. And if you want to see more videos breaking down the car market with real data, subscribe. We do this every week. Drop a comment below. Which of these SUVs surprised you the most? My money's on the Audi Q5. Nobody expects that one. See you in the next one.